Oh, they beat me with hammers!
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is tramping out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightnings of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, 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 hallelujah.
The Red Menace. An unaltering, unwavering, unforgivable sign of contestless evil. For as long as America has strived for freedom and prosperity, the Soviet Union has strived to take it away. Inside your homes, inside your televisions, inside your minds, no matter where you are, who you are, or what you do, the Russian crooks are ready to make what you hold near and dear to you and turn it into the distant past. Have you ever read the book 1984? Well, it's probably like that. I haven't read the book, but I have a pretty good idea of what it's about, and the future the communists want is probably the same thing. In such a time of uncertainty and fear, what is one to do? Cower in fear? Fortify our defenses? Actually contribute to the economy? No way, baby. We have to look to the complete opposite side of a commie in order to defeat the commies. The only way to defeat the Red Menace is through the mortal enemy of a left-wing nutjob. A right-wing nutjob. Specifically, a Nazi. Directly following World War II, the US government saw the Nazi scientists over there and said, hey, those guys are pretty smart. Maybe we should, recruit them or something. This became known as Operation Paperclip, where Nazi scientists were given new lives, cleared of all their war crimes, and recruited into different branches of the military. One of the most notable scientists was Wernher von Braun, who became the director of NASA.
When Operation Paperclip recruited Nazi scientists into the CIA learned of the experiments that were run on Jews during the Holocaust, and in 1950, they decided to continue that line of research on quote-unquote willing test subjects.
The original purpose of these tests was to invent a truth serum that could be used on Fidel Castro and communist spies to break them mentally and make them so weak that they are incapable of lying. They use such methods as subliminal messages, psychoactive drugs, electroshock therapy, hypnosis, abuse, and long periods of sensory deprivation, amongst others.
This became Project Artichoke, the predecessor to MKUltra. Some of the drugs they used were morphine, mescaline, and LSD. They also used certain viruses as incapacitating agents, like dengue fever, which causes low blood platelets, blood plasma leakage, dangerously low blood pressure, and muscle and joint pains. Project Artichoke was terminated in 1951, however the research was not abandoned. The CIA learned from the project that LSD causes people to be very cooperative and obedient, which could possibly be used to force information out of people or even make them forget certain information. They also believed that this could be used to create real-life sleeper agents, somebody who can betray their own senses on a whim, become puppeted by an authority without consent, and maim or potentially kill, and forget everything the next morning. Both of these ideas were of great interest to the CIA, and thus MKUltra was created in 1953. The most infamous MKUltra sub-project was called Subproject 68, which researched Donald Ewan Cameron's attempts to correct schizophrenia and anxiety disorders with psychic driving, in which the subject would be put into a drug-induced coma for weeks, or even months, while playing recordings of subliminal messages the entire time. Patients would arrive with anxiety disorders and depression, but would be permanently debilitated after the experiments, with severe cases of age regression and amnesia, to the point of even forgetting their own parents.
And while in this video we are playing this all up for laughs because it is horrendously exaggerated what they thought that they could do, cut the music for a second. This is real stuff that actually happened to real people. This is real torture. Just remember that.
MKUltra had over 150 sub-projects funded by the CIA. The total funding from the CIA reached about $10 million, which is equal to $87.5 million today. The CIA spent $240,000 to buy Sweden's entire supply of LSD. The yield was 10 kilograms, enough for 100 million doses. The Canadian government also gave $500,000 worth of funding to MKUltra and gave them permission to experiment on Canadian citizens.
Other terrible things the CIA did were set up fake brothels in low-income areas to lure in vulnerable men and inject them with LSD and research their trips without their knowledge or consent, try to genetically modify the migration paths of birds for the purposes of chemical warfare, try to lace the food of government officials in order to persuade them to think or act in certain ways, give 7 drug-addicted African-American participants at a rehab center in Kentucky LSD for 77 consecutive days, set up detention camps in places they didn't like, such as Japan or Germany, of kidnapped citizens, often killing them in the process, and dip into our own supply, often taking advantage of women and drugs at their disposal, just to have fun on their own. Amongst others. But by 1962, the CIA came to the conclusion that LSD was too versatile and chaotic of a drug to reliably yield results. As a result, MKUltra's focus shifted from LSD to a different drug called Agent BZ, which was much easier to control and causes cognitive dysfunction, hallucinations, and the complete inability to perform tasks. This switch led to less funding and academic interest and marked the beginning of MKUltra's long overdue collapse. MKUltra officially ended in 1964 when the CIA finally realized that the truth serum that they've been striving for was impossible with their current technology, and all of their research was saved in case it could be used for a future breakthrough on the topic. Following Richard Nixon's Watergate scandal, the director of the CIA at the time, Richard Helms, ordered for all of MKUltra's files to be destroyed immediately. All original copies of MKUltra documents were destroyed, except for about 20,000 pages worth of copies that remained at some random library because of improper bookkeeping practices.
In 1974, the New York Times reported allegations of the CIA performing cruel experiments on humans, which led to President Gerald Ford ordering an investigation of the CIA's abuse of power and illegal activities in 1975. This investigation was led by Vice President Nelson Rockefeller, leading to the investigation being nicknamed the Rockefeller Commission. When the investigation ended, it was obvious that the CIA was abusing its power. And nothing like this ever happened again. Dun, 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 dun.
And that there, my friends and fellows, is just about the gist of the MKUltra operations. There's still a lot more to learn and a lot more that we couldn't fit into this video, but I am so tired of doing this. I don't want to do this anymore. It's so bad. It's so bad. You know, just look up MKUltra just look it up. Read the Wikipedia article. I don't care. I don't care. Thank you. Just give me a good grade. I'm gonna die.